They put a stamp on it and saying, hey, everybody trust this guy because he went to Harvard or he went to medical school or he went to law school or something like that. That was the system. The problem right now is two things are happening that are crashing institutional trust. Most people, kids, adults, older adults, my grandparents, they're not going to Harvard EDU or Stanford or Khan Academy or whatever to learn and get information. And the majority of people aren't really filtering their content by PhDs or medical degrees or law degrees or people with institutional background. There's this huge shift and rise right now in like this free form, authentic yapping style content where everyday regular people are just sharing their stories, sharing their opinions, and spewing gospel all over the internet. You know, my girlfriend and I have this joke where when one of us is watching brain rot content and the other person catches them doing it, we'll be like, damn, you should be watching anything, right? And that's kind of how I think most people are nowadays. The first filter for many people is not necessarily what's your degree or what's your credential, but more so, is the message and idea that you're delivering worth me listening to? It's less about who is the messenger and more about, does this message catch my attention first? A second shift is that in the past, 15 years or so, many of these institutions have been publicly exposed for doing wrong things, from things in COVID to files to secrets, and whether the allegations are true or not, that's not the point. The conversation starts about what is real and what is not anymore. And finally, add on the mass adoption of AI, when basically access to the best professional degrees in the world are at your fingertips. And the question becomes like, is that information as valuable as it used to be because we can get it all in seconds? Now, I'm not saying that education and expertise is not valuable and it's not real. I would argue it's more valuable than it's ever been before. But if you've been counting on them to carry you forward, then you're already behind. I spent over 10 years of my life, from 18 till 28, through the pre-med track to medical school to becoming a doctor. The advantages today aren't just about your degrees or how much schooling or credentialing you have. It's about the ability for those degrees and credentials to travel when you're not even there. Here's the way that I've been thinking about this. You want to imagine that your career is like a solar system. Your degree made you a planet, something with gravity, something that pulls people towards you into orbit. But the only thing that can orbit you is the stuff that's already in your gravitational field. That is the limit of your reach, no matter how much more of an expert you become. You can be the most qualified person in the room that you walk in, but if the room only has 5 people, then your impact stops with those 5 people. Now, on the other hand, there are some people who are getting ahead and have figured out, how do I expand my center of gravity? How do I attract more people? And it's not about having more expertise. Some of them have less, but they just know how to pull harder and from further away. And the thing that differentiates them is literally just being more visible online. It's having a trustworthy brand. So last year I was visiting New York, as I do every year, and I was in this coffee shop on like a random Tuesday afternoon, and this stranger walked up to me and tapped me on the shoulder. He was like, hey, you're that YouTube guy, right? You make videos about learning. And he started going off on me. He was like, dude, thank you so much. Your videos are really helping my son in school. There was this 2024 study that found 82% of hiring managers said that candidates with a strong personal brand were more likely to advance their careers and get the job. 68% research their candidates' online persona before they offer interviews. And it's not because we don't value degrees, it's just because resumes have fundamentally changed. If you were to put side by side someone who gave you a piece of paper that listed out all their experiences versus a similar candidate who had a YouTube channel with beautiful looking content that was clear, that demonstrated their ability to speak, articulate, share their opinions and their voice, which of those two is a hiring manager more likely to be like, I want to work with that guy? And it's so obvious, right? I'm not saying anything particularly new here. It's just so interesting how the traditional systems have been slow to adopt such an obvious reason for you to build a personal brand or to post content on social media. You know, when I was in medical school, it was almost frowned upon to create your own content, to build a personal brand. Because medicine is a pretty conservative field. I even had a friend who was at a med school in Chicago. His med school literally told him to shut down his YouTube channel and his social media, or else they would fail him and not let him apply for residency. And when you hear a story like that, your first reaction is probably like, oh, he was probably posting stupid content or making the institution look bad. No, he was just posting content helping other medical students be more productive, sharing his workflows with like AI tools and Notion. And it made like no sense to me because if you look a little bit further, who are some of the biggest and most famous personal brands on the internet that are influencing people's lives? Like Dr. Mike, for example, over 10 million subscribers. The content that he puts out there, the things that he's done have probably influenced and helped more people in the entire world than any doctor who practices in their town would influence in their entire career. Or people like Dr. Julie Smith, who's a clinically trained psychologist with credentials that make her a very successful clinician. And because she's sharing her ideas on social media, she's gotten a book deal, she's built a very successful career where people know her as a voice in the space of psychology. And today she's a best-selling author. She's got a practice with a wait list, she's got speaking engagements. Opportunities are flooding to her because she understood the value of building a personal brand and leveraging her expertise and credentials. Same expertise, she didn't change who she was, but wildly different gravitational pull because she understood the value of building a personal brand right now. And I can go down the list like specifically in the medical space because, you know, I relate to doctors. We have Ali Abdaal, we have Dr. K, Kevin Jabal. Like there's so many people who are understanding that your degree is great, your credentials are great, but there's a way to amplify this all, which is understanding that the game has changed. There's a multiplier here. Building expertise alone tells the world that you're qualified, but building an audience is a signal to the world that people have chosen you as their leader. One is all about you. The other one is about your relationship to other people. And that second one is the key to unlocking all those opportunities that you probably want in your career. There's a 2025 study that found 72% of B2B decision makers trust professionals with active thought leadership and presence on social media more than they trust a company's official marketing. Now, here's where some people might take this the wrong way, and I want to clear it up. When people say, like, I need to build a brand on YouTube, or I need to build a personal brand, they immediately think numbers. It's like, I need to have 1 million subscribers. I need to become famous and huge to get any impact at all. You really don't need to. I personally believe that the market right now is starving for subject matter experts, not generalists, but like specialists. If you want to increase your gravitational pull, it's combining expertise with distribution through content, through media, through sharing your ideas that allows you to expand your orbit. Now, I'll also be very honest with you. Building an audience or building a brand or creating content is basically a second job. And if you're busy running a business or you're far in your career, you probably don't have time for that. And now the real question is, do you have to figure out being a creator all on your own? Or is there another way? And the thing is, if you've spent years of your life building expertise and credentials and skills, it's so much easier to gain visibility online. For example, this author named Daniel Pink started taking YouTube very seriously not too long ago, instantly got to like 200,000 subscribers, less than a year. Or one